Okay, this is going to be a classic automotive diagnostic video, a little different from what I usually do. This is going to be my tool. This is what would be normally used as a test light. And so, most commonly, a test light is going to be clipped to a ground, and then the probe here is put on wires or fuses or components or whatever you want to see if there's power there. Alright, so most commonly the test light, like I was telling you, is used for tracing power, to see if you've got power to a component or a piece of wire. So I've hooked it to the ground and I'm going to take the probe and touch it to the hot on the battery, and there you go, it lights up. So if you just wanted to trace down a wiring problem, or find out if you've got power to a choke or power to a coil or any component, let's say your clutch wasn't coming in and you wanted to find out if you're getting power. That's one use. Okay, so what I'm going to do with it today is what I call a load test. So I'm going to clip it right there to ground so it's close to where I'm trying to work. Now the wire, I don't know, that's probably 3 or 4 feet long. But what has happened here is the car sits a lot, and these new carburetors and new gas just don't get along. They're just, carburetors are just about a thing of the past. They really are. As far as a affordable $300 or $400 carburetor you can go buy off of a shelf in a parts store, they're just getting worse and worse. So what I'm going to do, this is what I call a load test. I'm going to use this to create a short, one cylinder at a time, and find the skip. Somehow this new motor has developed a skip. So I'm going to stick the probe down in the wire like that, one at a time, and find the one that doesn't make any difference. Okay, so what I mean by make a difference is when you ground out the spark going to the spark plugs, it stops that cylinder from firing. Okay, so one of these cylinders is already not firing. So we're going to find the one that's not firing by determining one at a time if it's making a difference or not. Now you can use a tachometer or an RPM gauge or something if you have a really quiet type situation. This one I can really hear and I can tell. So I'm just going to do it by ear, so to speak. So I'm going to ground those out one at a time and listen to it slow down the motor, then let it off, then ground it again and it slows down the motor. Then I know that particular cylinder is firing okay. And when I get to one of these 8 that grounding it out is making no difference whatsoever, then I know that's where the skip is, and I'll pull that plug first and look at it, or look at the wire. I'll start to chase the rabbit down the trail with a little more information at that point. So I've got my test light laying here out of the way. I've got it connected to what should be a good ground right there. Let's crank the engine and get it running and get it sitting here idling, and let's find the skip. You hear it kind of running rough. I'm going to have to let it warm up so this electric choke will disengage some. You can probably see and hear. You can see the shake and you can hear the miss. some boots are harder to poke through than others, so I'm just going to start poking these by the side. Alright. We know that cylinder is firing because it makes a distinct difference when I ground it out. Can you hear that? Okay, that's really slowed the engine down to ground out that one. Let's go to our next one. Okay, I think we found it pretty quick. See, that's doing nothing. That is making no difference at all right there. And I'll go back to the one next to it. And you can distinctly tell that creates a skip. And this one is doing nothing. So there's our culprit right there. But just to further demonstrate a little more clearly the load test that I'm doing, let's do a couple of more, just so you can see without a doubt what this does. Yep, that slows it way down. And so does that one. Okay, so let's go back to the one that we found was definitely not making any difference. And that's this one right here. And it is doing nothing. Okay, so it's this one right here. I'm going to leave that test light there. So there's absolutely no mistake which one it is. So we're going to cut the car off. And like I said, we're going to examine that one cylinder. And here it is. It's this one that goes, so that's the number one right there. So what I'm going to do, boy, I tell you what, you can tell a distinct difference in the temperature. These tubes are really hot. That one I can hold my hand on. Absolutely no problem holding my hand right there. These you will not hold your hand on. So that's another way you can just reconfirm you've definitely found the dead cylinder, is it's not firing, so it's not hot. Let's take our temperature gauge and show that. Okay, and I'm sure you guys are willing to take my word, but and you can see those are pretty hot. That one's at 160. So let's go to the one that's dead. 82 degrees. That's the one that's dead and not firing. 149. Let's go back here. And obviously every spot in the tube is going to make a difference where you're at. There's basically 149. So as we can see, this is our culprit, the number one. So let's pull that wire off, examine it, take the plug out, and figure out why this thing's skipping and get it smoothed out. Okay, so before I pull the plug out, I have inspected this wire visually, and I can't see a problem with the wire itself. Now, of course, anything in that circuit, or whatever you want to call this, could be a problem. There could be a problem with the contact in here, very unlikely. There could be a problem with the wire itself. It could get burnt going around that header or something. So that's something that I did, was inspected it. So what I've done is I've got a screwdriver that fit tightly in it, and I'm going to crank it up again and put this up near a ground and see if I get spark. And that tells us that we're getting spark to here and that the plug should be firing. So there's no telling what's going on here with this number 1 cylinder, but we are narrowing it down now. Alright, we've got it back running, and I did see spark. Alright, so that tells us we definitely okay, so that tells us we definitely have spark at the end of the wire here. So the problem is either the plug or we have a bad problem in the cylinder. So let's hope that we've got some type of problem with the spark plug itself. So let's pull it out. Alright, so one thing about this car is headers are a lot of trouble. You can see where the plug is under there. So you're not going to get a ratchet or an extension, so I had to go in through here with a wrench, a 5/8 wrench, to actually loosen the plug. And we'll have to take it in and out that way. Now, what's really going to be bad news, and it looks pretty fouled, but what's going to be bad news is if we do yet another test and plug this onto the wire and ground it and we get spark right there, then we've got a problem with a valve or a piston or something in our cylinder, and that's really going to be bad news. But let's hope this black ugly fouled plug is just not sparking. Okay, so it's grounded right there laying on that metal, and it should spark. But I'll be honest with you, I really don't want to see it spark. And I don't know, it's going to sound pretty bad to crank this thing with no plug in number 1. But let's see what happens if we crank it. It's going to sound pretty radical out here. No spark. Well, that's a good sign. That means we get this plug replaced, or maybe even just cleaned up, and we'll fix our skip. Alright, let's try this again. Snugged in there. I don't believe we got but about a 1/4 inch between that header and that 90-degree boot. Tell you what, headers are a lot of trouble. Alright, it's running good now. Let's repeat our load test, and we should definitely have a distinct difference. Definitely running smooth. So we should be able to see this number 1 plug here slowing us down when we do the load test. Yep. Here. Now you can hear that. Definitely firing on all Chevrolet cylinders now. Let's take it for a road test. Okay, so I've only got a few things left to do to this car. Built it for my son. All the interior is new. We need a radio still. I don't like this silly shifter, so I found him a stock one. It's not the Turbo 350 anymore. It is a 700 R4. So, oh yeah, she's running smooth now. So I'm just going to take it around the block. Here in the neighborhood where I live, I'm not going to be able to get on it or anything, but it's a 290 horse crate motor, new from Chevrolet, 350. I'm not sure if those are remanned motors or if they're brand new crate motors. I think you can get them both ways, but so anyway, we're running smooth now, other than this road being a little bit bumpy. So, just thought I'd show you the load test, is what I call that, and that's just my simple way of tracing down which cylinder is doing what. Obviously, you can read the exhaust. There's a couple things you can do. So we got a NOS steering wheel we found. Going to get the radio and the stock shifter, and I'm going to hand this thing over to him. And he's going to be cruising in style. All right. Thanks for watching.